So I'm going to tell something on that one you call How I Didn't Meet Orson Welles. One of the treasured friendships that Barbara and I had in Europe was with the Spanish painter Luis Quintanilla. Some of you may know Luis and have looking up on the web. Luis was a Spanish painter, Catalan, who was quite well known and established in Spain before the Civil War. In Spain, his murals bedecked the government buildings in Madrid and Barcelona. It was very well received. Until the revolution, when the fascists came and wanted to take over the Republican government. So all of his paintings were destroyed or confiscated. And Luis went to war. I mean, he became a soldier painter, and he fought on the barricades in Catalonia. And Ernest Hemingway, who was a friend of Luis's, by the way, Ernest Hemingway has written, and I quote almost verbatim, Luis Quintanilla almost single-handedly defended the Montaña barracks. So this is one great guy, and pretty good painter on top of it. Luis, of course, was exiled after the Franco came into power and could not return to his native Spain. So while the war was still on, he was doing undercover work in Paris, working with the underground and with Republican underground back in Spain. So he moved there and had his atelier and living quarters in Paris. So every time Barbara and I, we had known Luis actually in the States before, and in New York years before, but now that we're both living in Europe, we're all living in Europe, we spend a lot of time together. Whenever we went to Paris, we visited Luis. Usually had dinner at his favorite Basque restaurant. It was on one of these visits that Luis told that his the yearning of his life was to see the Rembrandts. He had not seen except those at the Louvre since he was in Paris, but he had always wanted to see every Rembrandt he could. He loved the 17th century master. And two wars, first the Spanish War and then the Second World War, had kept him from coming to Holland to visit all the Rembrandts, and after that, his financial situation was straightened. Finances didn't allow him to do it, so Barbara and I invited him to come stay with us. We were living in Hague, and had lived some 5 years in Holland at that time, so we invited Luis to come and stay with us, which he did for several weeks. Barbara, most of Barbara, because I still had work to do, but between us, we drove him all over the Netherlands. There wasn't a Rembrandt hanging in that country of Rembrandts that he didn't visit and study and go up and look at the brushstrokes and so forth, the things that artists do. He had the time of his life, and we loved having him with us. While he was there, he began painting a portrait of our children. And they sat for him very patiently. I had to go out and steal a couple of tulips from it was toward the end of the season, the tulips were almost bloom. But he insisted that one of them had to hold the tulips, so I stole the best tulip I could find from the neighbor's garden, and I gave it to him, and he worked on the portrait for a time, and he was out looking at Rembrandt. So, before he left, Luis said, there are a couple of things in gratitude that I would like to leave you with. One, I'm going to present the portrait to you. We weren't sure we were going to get it. He'd done several famous portraits before. He did public styles, he was quite well known, and Similar Harvest by Karl Zimmer, the literature professor, one thing. But anyway, we were pleased that we were going to get the portrait. And two, he said, I want to fix the farewell dinner. I will fix the farewell dinner. Okay. what are we going to get? I'm going to fix you a Dutch recipe for wild hair. Okay? So I drove Louise to the game purveyor. Outside his shop hung carcasses of deer and wild boar, pheasants in full plumage, and grouse and quail and hare. So he picked the animal he wanted. The game butcher skinned it, wrapped it up, and it made its final delivery in the trunk of my car. I took it home, Actually, I don't know if it was he or she, but I took it home, and Louise as well. And Barbara had borrowed, on Louise's instruction, the largest pot, I'm sorry if I just the largest pot she borrowed from our Dutch friends, into which Louise proceeded to concoct a marinade. Barbara had to take me to various special herb and spice shops to get stuff. I don't know what went in. I do know that there were 3 or 4 bottles of good red wine that disappeared from my mom's place. Into this pot came this marinade. And submerged in the marinade, of course, went through the body of the hair. It was there to marinate. Not for a few hours, not overnight, but for 2 or 3 days. It lay there marinating. And that's a euphemism because what it was doing was something more than that. What our British friends, it became what I think is called off. The kitchen was, after a while, uninhabitable. Barbara would not go into the kitchen. We ate sandwiches and cheese or something for a time, but she couldn't get in there to cook, literally. We couldn't have guests in the house. It was scandalous. But eventually it was time to get it to be cooked, roasted, whatever. And before that, we thought this gone far enough. So we very timidly, we loved this guy. And he was all heart and doing what he thought was the right thing. And so we finally said, Luis, don't you think it's time now to take the hair out of the marinade and do whatever else it is? Don't worry, it will be fantastic. It was actually very good. It was edible and everybody was delicious. It was helped along by a couple of, I think 3 bottles of Halo. Barbara later said, which I thought was one of her best quips, that indeed the game was worth the scandal. So Luis left us. And a couple of weeks later, I was in Paris on business, and of course went to see him. Luis lived in a stately old building, probably early 18th century. Early 18th century. I'm sorry, early 19th century. I would guess, yeah, early 1800, 1810. And near the Etoile, off the Champs-Élysées. He lived on the 5th or 6th floor, which is, depending on how you count, in the 5th floor you would be. And so this evening when I went to visit him after my office visits, I walked into the lobby to find the elevator. Now the elevator, many of you know these old, early 20th century French elevators, the cages that rattle and clink, and you think you're taking your life in your hand, but eventually they normally deliver you to your destination floor. This one wasn't going to do it that day because it was out of order. So I trudged up the 5 flights of stairs to Louise's apartment, and he was a god with the excitement. Louise was very excited because he says, Orson is coming to see me. Orson Welles was not a friend of Louise's, he was a patron of his art, had bought several paintings, and whenever he visited Louise in Paris, he bought a painting. He could afford that. We tried to do that, and we did it maybe every third time or something. But, we weren't in the office or something. But anyway, so we waited, and shortly after the appointed time, Orson Welles' deep stentorian voice comes booming up there was no intercom. He's booming up the stairwell. Louise, this damn lift is not working. Louise walked to the top of the stairs and leaned over and said, pleaded with Orson, please come up. Orson, I want to show you my latest painting. Please come up. I'll come up when you get this damn lift fixed. And Orson Welles left. And that's, now you